When the pandemic hit, we turned on a dime to fundamentally alter the way our school and community programs work. At a time when so many of our neighbors were hit by food insecurity, isolation, and resource scarcity, we knew that we were in a unique position to respond where it was needed most. Finding a way to connect people immediately and directly to growing their own food became a top priority. The Backyard Growers in-person garden trainings, seed giveaway event, and seedling sales had always been a moment for gardeners to reconnect after a long winter, while having access to free and reduced price resources. But now we needed to make this happen with extremely limited contact and in observance of public health restrictions. All our volunteer and garden member trainings went online to the now familiar Zoom format. Within days of the lockdown order, we launched an online shop with seeds, seedlings, and other essential garden resources like black earth compost. The team helped vulnerable residents and the general population place free and reduced cost orders and arranged contact-free access to over 1,000 growing supplies through delivery and the trusty Backyard Growers van and at our later spring curbside pickup events.
My name is Emily Brown. I'm the Food Corps Service Member at Backyard Growers, and I run the school programming and help manage the school gardens. Before the pandemic hit, I was spending all of my time in the schools. We were planning for our spring harvests and planting events with the lettuce and the fall crops. So I ended up doing all of that on my own. But when the pandemic hit, we began all of our work in the community. We built over 20 backyard gardens for seniors in the community and repaired over 100 gardens throughout the city. When we were in the schools, I was planning on doing over 10 hours of class time with my students, and that completely changed to engaging our senior citizen community members. There was a lot of repairing garden beds that had fallen to the wayside, which looked like moving a lot of soil to top them off, nailing beds back together that were falling apart, and to make it safe for the community to be out in the gardens. We moved over 50 yards of compost to all the different gardens that we were repairing, and in the community gardens we were also making sure that they were ADA compliant. I think our work is important, particularly right now, and why I chose to do it in the first place was because food is kind of the base of everything. So when things are hard, food is what people go back to, and making sure that people have access to healthy food is really important.
Demand for growing resources was off the charts. Our ability to meet the demand for raised garden beds, in particular, was crunched. We quickly filled all our available community garden spaces, and then worked hard to create systems and support to keep people safe in community gardens under the new pandemic conditions, after studying emerging national standards and best practices.
Hi, my name is Pierre Warney, and I live just over the hill on Prospect Street, not far from Burnham Park where we are now, and we could walk over here to tend our garden and do all the watering. We first learned about Backyard Growers at the O'Malley School Environmental Fair around Earth Day in the spring about 3 or 4 years ago. So we signed up. I guess we were on the waiting list for a while, and we had to wait, and we finally got our little garden plot right here, which is a raised bed. We try to grow as many different things throughout the season as possible. One of the main benefits of gardening that I think is it does encourage people and make people eat healthier foods and stuff. Especially this year, 2020, less trips to the supermarket. Growing our own food is definitely healthier and safer. We've met a lot of people and friends socially through gardening and stuff, because we all have a common interest. And part of gardening is people who love nature, plants and animals and birds and butterflies and everything. So we're outside in the sun getting fresh air and exercise, which is the safest place to be this year. I'm learning to cook more now. This year we have a lot of green tomatoes. So what am I going to do with green tomatoes? I'm going to make fried green tomatoes. You've probably all seen that movie. Again, my name is Pierre, and as the famous chef Julia Child used to say, bon appetit!
Thanks to community support and the early weeks of the pandemic, we were able to double the number of garden beds we would normally build for local seniors and families in need in our backyard garden program.
I retired this year after 30 years of teaching. Best timing ever for retirement for a teacher. And so I have a bunch of time on my hand. I also am at several high-risk groups for, COVID stuff, so I can't go out and, do a lot of stuff. So that's why having a garden is really awesome. So it's therapeutic, both mentally and physically. Get out, clear your head, it's sort of meditative. And then the physical part too, like with some of my arthritis, you'd think, sitting indoors and drinking tea would be like a good thing to do, but the opposite is true. So this is the raised garden bed that you sent me and set up for me, which I appreciate a lot. And it got me started really back into gardening, where I had done some a while back, and as soon as I got this, I was so excited. And I mean, who doesn't love a tomato? So I have a lot of tomatoes. I probably have, I don't know, I'm gonna guess 2 dozen that are all gonna turn red like tomorrow. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with all of them, but there really is nothing like going out into your very garden, picking that zucchini and that cucumber and those tomatoes and then the herbs. It's almost like magic, I said to my brother the other day, I made this ratatouille, and I said to him, I don't want to boast, but that was about the top 5 foods I've ever eaten in my life, was that meal that I made. And it wasn't because I'm such a great cook, but it really was just because right off the bush, into the pan, little bit of noodles, boop, and that was just so good. The good thing about gardening is it's low stakes learning. So it's not like you're learning a job that you could be fired from. It's just like you're the boss of it. I feel like, with COVID and Black Lives Matter and all the stuff that's going on right now, all important stuff to focus on and work on, and to take care of yourself, you really need, for me, a creative outlet. So gardening and problem solving the stuff in the garden is a creative outlet for me. It's part of what really brings happiness and joy to me.
Just blessing to have this garden here at the house, and in these moments of so hard moments of losing my job and not having nothing to look forward for many months since April. And so when they called me that they were going to put it for me, it was like, wow, there's hope. Automatically people came to help, and it was incredible how they put it together. And then I saw it, and I saw George coming to put the dirt, and he was teaching me when I don't have any idea of what to do with the dirt, with the seeds. And I was here with my seeds. How do I do it? How do I plant? Emily was very kind to teach me a lot about how to do it. And then I kind of planted it myself, and I think I did good. So July 7th till July 17th, I couldn't do anything. I mean, But then little by little, I came down. I have to come down 23 steps because I live in the second floor to come down. So that makes me work for it too, like my recovery of my surgery helped me to push a little bit more because of the garden. From the moment I'm coming down, I'm just talking to my garden, say, I'm coming, you must be thirsty, and I'm gonna, be giving you the water right now. And I just love to be standing there and just water it for 20 minutes, like from the hose behind. It reaches perfect. I have a renter, her name is Jill, and she has a little boy, his name is Ben, and he's always, wanting to know, and do you want me to help you water? He was gonna water for me, and he was very sweet to offer it. And I told him to pick up his green beans. That's the only thing he likes over there is the green beans and tomatoes. He picks up some tomatoes. So we've been very, very, very happy to be able to pick up the kale. It's been giving me a lot. It's fresh, you know, like I can do the kale and that soup that I make with kvass and the kidney beans and the kale is just incredible, the flavor. And then I throw some tomatoes too. I had 2 big tomatoes and I put them in there. So yeah, it makes a difference. I have a bunch of tomatoes here. We like them as with pico de gallo. We make with onions and cilantro and jalapenos, lemons, and pepper and salt, and chop everything. Not very little, but very spicy. And then what else I can do with tomatoes? My son and his girlfriend love the mozzarella capri salad. You know, I just look forward for my garden every morning to come and see what is growing and what's new and how to, harvest. I do not know how to harvest the carrots yet, but I will learn. It hasn't been a problem for me to connect with my garden and to feel my garden and to be part of this beautiful experience, because I wouldn't have anything to look forward, and if I didn't have the garden, right? So it makes me stand up and go and look at it and see what's growing and what's bringing it, the earth to me, which is amazing. Primero que nada, es una bendición tener este jardín en estos momentos tan difíciles, en donde mucha gente perdió muchas esperanzas de estar con gente, de estar en contacto con la naturaleza, porque el COVID nos está pegando muy fuerte. Y esto me ha ayudado a valorar más lo que tengo y me ha ayudado mucho más a valorar mis amistades, porque gracias a mis amistades yo pude lograr tener mi jardín.
Experiences like Tanya and Luce's were made possible by donors to the Get a Garden, Give a Garden program, which allows individuals to purchase a raised bed garden while also donating one to the community. In 2020, this program has been made possible through a new partnership with the folks at Black Earth Compost, who build the beds and help administer the program.
I'm Yvonne Smichael.
And I'm Errol Smichael, and we live at 28 Dale Avenue, the corner of Dale and Prospect.
It makes us happy to know that being able to donate to Backyard Growers will help provide somebody with some fresh local vegetables.
We are farmers at heart. We are originally from Jamaica, and in Jamaica farming is local smallholding, plus everybody has some farm activities or fruit trees, vegetables in their yards.
So we wanted to have our own garden as well. We've been trying this, but in buckets. And when we heard about the raised beds and the fact that they could be installed for us, we were excited and we had to get in on the deal.
Yeah. And of course, there's the health aspect of it, where food is. We would rather not buy industrial grown foods. We'd also like to grow things for ourselves, particularly those vegetables that are Jamaican, Caribbean vegetables. Good examples are callaloo, which is, in a sense, it's like spinach in terms of nutrition, but it has more fiber. It's a bit more bulkier when it's cooked, and it does a much more interesting flavor than spinach, right? But that's very staple for us. And of course, thyme and Scotch bonnet peppers, which goes into any cooking that we do.
And especially the jerk chicken.
Particularly jerk chicken. But yeah, we are community oriented at heart.
And whatever we grow, growing up, whatever is grown at home is shared with the neighbors. You know, somebody come, do you have a breadfruit? I want to add that to my dinner. You could give callaloo, or you know, so you always share. Somebody can give you some fruits, and you can give them something to go with your dinner. So it's always one of the community things that we've done, you know, as part of our culture. And so having a garden and making sure that somebody else has a garden is just something that comes natural to us.
Our ability to work with volunteer groups was initially limited due to the new social distancing guidelines, so we created new systems for deploying volunteer support on a limited scale to repair over 100 community and school garden beds all over the city, maintain community garden spaces, and manage the open door garden to provide fresh food for their clients. Community volunteers who were eager to find purpose amidst the isolation of the time jumped on board and became essential helpers to weed the community gardens for overwhelmed members of our population, allowing the gardens to remain positive, calming spaces for all.
My name is Molly, and I'm from Gloucester. I live up by Our Lady of the Good Voyage. I've been here for a number of years. I learned about backyard growers a couple different ways. I saw some raised beds in downtown Gloucester. Last year I went to the Grow Down, which was fabulous. The thing that really got me engaged was this year I watched the zombie apocalypse. I joined that online class with Laura, and it was just like so inspiring. I got furloughed from my job because of the pandemic, and then eventually I lost my job. And when I got furloughed, it was like, man, I got to do something. So I reached out and became a volunteer. And I said, you know, I'm somewhat of an improvisational gardener, so I think what I'd like to do is start with weeding. I just think having your hands in the dirt is so healing. And I totally recommend it to anybody who wants to see what it's like to make a difference. It just brought like a certain rhythm and certainty to my life that was missing. And being in nature is therapeutic, it's uplifting. You see the magic of how things grow. It was a real blessing.
Our team also innovated to give kids, now stuck at home in front of computer screens, a unique growing experience. Every spring, the Backyard Growers Salad Days program gives 100% of Gloucester's elementary school students a full seed-to-fork experience, planting salad greens from seed and then watching them grow until they're harvested and enjoyed in the school cafeteria. With support from the Gloucester District Schools, we spearheaded at-home Salad Days kits, consisting of a custom grow bag, soil, lettuce seeds, and kid-friendly instructions. They were distributed for free to 100% of Gloucester's second graders through curbside pickup, and then made available at reduced cost for other families to purchase.
My name is Croft and I go to East Gloucester School. I'm gonna be in 3rd grade. We planted the seeds in the potting mix dirt we put in the pot, and then we put the seeds in and watered it and put it on the porch to get some sun. And then the next day there was some sprout. The next week it was a little bit of lettuce, but not enough. And then the next week it was lettuce ready to grow, and a few days later we had a salad and another salad. I was surprised by how fast my lettuce grew, and Dad put them on burgers, and it was really fun to grow. I think I'll eat more lettuce now.
With help from parent volunteers and the support of the School Food Services Department, we repurposed some of our school garden beds for quick food production, growing kale and salad greens to distribute to families picking up school lunches throughout the spring lockdown. Fresh greens were accompanied by recipes so families would have some creative ways to prepare their produce. After the harvest, our food course service member, Emily Brown, planted all of our school gardens with the crops needed for our Fall Harvest Days school events, in the hopes that students would be able to harvest these crops in September. As the school year starts this fall, we have been adapting our annual Fall Harvest Days with safety measures in place and at a reduced scale. Select grade levels will join us in the gardens to harvest the crops we've grown all summer, and will take home those veggies to enjoy at home with recipe cards. We are also providing teachers with tips, lessons, and resources for using the school gardens during the shoulder seasons to promote outdoor learning opportunities and to lead activities in their classrooms to create garden-themed connections for kids. Plus, we are growing a new round of fall crops, spinach and kale, for distribution through school lunch pickup once again. Backyard Growers is an organization that grew out of necessity, the necessity for one family to keep fresh produce on the table during the last recession. It has grown thanks to tireless community support and the team's ability to move swiftly and with purpose. Recovery from the pandemic and economic downturn will be gradual, and we know our work will remain essential. But we also know our incredible community will continue to make it possible for us to connect kids, families, and seniors to the resources they need to grow their own food and enjoy fresh, healthy produce.